Hey guys, so the reason I'm like a little crazy is because I actually just filmed like a ton of different videos. Went to the Run Expo today. A lot has happened. That said, a lot has happened within the last like 2 weeks. I have like filmed this update video like about 30 times now. So 2 weeks ago, like soon after my last race video, I injured my my back. Well, specifically my sciatic nerve, but it was like to the point where it like I could barely like pick up like backpacks. I could not bend over any sort of position that I was in, or there wasn't a single position I can be in without being in pain. It was like this whole thing. Sorry, I'm sniffly because I just sneezed like right before I started filming. And it was, yeah, I'm just checking it right now to see like when the last time I ran. Like a lot has happened. So I woke up and I did some yoga, and I think the yoga made my sciatic nerve, which you don't know what a sciatic nerve is. It's like the nerve that goes from like kind of like your mid-thigh kind of feet all the way up to like your back or your butt area, and it is very uncomfortable when it is inflamed. It hurts like a lot to walk around, to stand, like sit. It's just very uncomfortable. But if it's like really bad, then your whole like lower back hurts. So by stretching, I made it worse because I wasn't catering to that injury, and because I didn't think it was like a big deal. I thought I was just like sore or whatever. And then I went to work and it was awful. It was so bad to the point where they ended up sending me home. I did absolutely nothing that whole day. Then I ended up calling out of work the next day, again doing absolutely nothing. And luckily I had like my weekend. So by the time I went back to work, I was like ready to go, fresh, you know, good to go, whatever. But like oh my goodness, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was so in pain. So I ended up working a whole work week. I have a very active job, and so I didn't stretch or like train, or I didn't do anything. I mean, I would stretch, but like not like as aggressive with the yoga as I would before. And I just kind of like did what I could, basically. Also, I don't know if you guys saw me, I cut my hair. It's shorter than I expected it, but anyway. And so then a couple days ago, I went for a run. It's my first run since really my injury. And I was fine. So I ended up looking at, because I have like, I knew it was my sciatic nerve because I had injured my sciatic nerve on my right hand side when I was in high school. And so I recognized all of the different like symptoms and feelings and such. It was just on my left hand side. And so that's why I like was really careful with it, because I typically don't have any issues with my left hand side. My right hand side, I injured my right knee when I was in middle school. I injured my foot when I was in college. So my whole right hand side is just a mess. Yeah, I was able to run. It actually hasn't given me any issues since I rested with it, which is amazing. But yeah, I have the farthest I've ran at this point is 8 miles. My last run, like I said, was like an hour, and I think it was like 4.5, almost 5 miles, which is good, and my pace is getting better, but I have not reached that 10-mile mark. Part of me is a little nervous after looking at the running racetrack trail, because we're starting out kind of in like pavement area, which running on pavement is fine. It's just one of those things where you don't have that motivation that you typically get when you're like, say, in the parks. So you've got like just run. You're in the parks having a good time, through the resorts having a good time, in the parks. And then it's just going to be like the last like 3 miles, I think, are just on the road. And there's a lot of curves, and I can tell from where the road is, it might be hilly. And so I'm really, really not looking forward to those last couple of miles. It's also supposed to be super, super humid on race morning and hot. So, I mean, but we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen with the spring race. This is our first spring race. That's why a lot of people don't come to the spring races. So it is what it is. But, yeah, so I just wanted to share that had happened. Oh, and then I have a quick little PSA story time. So my last run that I did was in the gym on the treadmill. When I went in, we have a small gym at our apartment, by the way. Like there's 2 treadmills, 2 ellipticals, and like a handful of like strength machines, and that is it. It's a very small space. And it is open 24 hours, but like during regular office hours, it's like monitored by cleaning people and like the office people and stuff like that. But like not during non-business hours, no one is watching it. It's like first come, first serve. You know, what you see is what you get. So, I've seen people in there with their children before, which is fine. I'm not saying anything against that. For example, when I went in there was a mom doing like Pilates and like HIIT workout stuff in the corner, and her daughter had headphones on watching like an iPad sitting in the corner. That's totally fine. Totally fine. I understand some parents have to go in and they don't want to leave their kids at home. Totally understandable. There was even a couple weeks ago while I was running on the treadmill, there was a mom who came in, set her daughter up on one of the equipment things. She was like 16 under, you know, around that time, around that age. She looked like she was an athlete, so maybe she was training for, you know, she was on the elliptical, so maybe she was just training her joints for something. She did that, and then she did the rowing for a little bit. But her mom like walked her over, set her up, hung out in the corner until she was done, and then like checked her work, and then like took her to the next machine and did the same thing. So she was like her coach in a sense. She was like monitoring her and with her the whole time. Again, no issues with that either. Like, kids gotta train, whatever, you do you. Especially if they have a guide, someone telling them what to do. So now that I'm remembering how the story starts, it infuriates me. So whenever I go to a treadmill, I set my gym bag down by whatever the machine is. I go get the cleaning wipes. I clean it all up, make sure it's all nice and clean all over the place. I take my water bottle out, my headphones, my phone, which happened to be charging, so it had like even more stuff just all over the place. So it's like, this is mine. And it was just me and like 2 other people in there anyway, so I didn't think it was gonna be a problem, me walking away from the treadmill. So I walked away from the treadmill. Again, I'm not very far. It's a small gym. And I was just doing some light stretching because I had forgotten to do that before I went to the gym. Which I mean is my own fault. I could have done the stretches on the treadmill. I just wanted to have a little more space to walk around. Again, my own fault. So I walked away from the treadmill and I noticed a kid or like a preteen, someone young, a young adult, like tapping on the gym window, like the door to go in, the outside door to go in. And we have like a key fob we have to use to get in. And like there's one for each household. So like it's possible like someone could have lost one or whatever. But typically if I see someone young, then I don't go to the door, because also like I don't know where they're from. Like they could be from another apartment complex and they're going to use our gym, which is not allowed. Like it's for residents only. So it's like, if you don't have a key fob, how can I trust that you actually live here, you know? And don't get me wrong, I forgot my key fob before, but it's taught me to go and get it and come back. Anywho, someone was tapping. I wasn't going to let them in, but the mom close to the door ended up letting them in. And I saw it was 2 young kids. I was like, here we go. So I was thinking like, we're not going to stress. We're not going to get upset. You know, they may come in, because like it's also the walkway to get to the pool. So I was like, they could be going to the pool. They walk straight to the water cooler. So I was like, well, maybe they're just getting water, because like there's a playground just outside there. So I was like, well, maybe that's what they're doing. They're just getting some water or whatever, which is totally understandable. That's fine. That's not what ended up happening. So mind you, during this time, I'm like walking around stretching, and the younger girl hops up to the treadmill. And when I say younger, I mean like she had to have been like 10, 11, 12. She hopped up on, well, one of her friends hopped up on the treadmill next to mine, and then she hopped up on my treadmill with all my stuff all over it, and then just started pushing buttons. And so I just walked over to her and kind of looked at her, like waiting for her to realize like, oh, your stuff's all over the place. I'm so blind. And she didn't. So I said, I walked over to her, gave her a second to acknowledge it. She didn't. She just kept playing with the treadmill. So I picked up my stuff and I said, okay, well, I guess I'm not using this treadmill. and I moved to the elliptical on the other side because now both of them had taken both of the treadmills. Well, after about 5 minutes, right when I was like ready to actually do my workout, one of the girls hops off of the treadmill and goes on to play with something else. I think one of the exercise balls. And so I grabbed the wipes, wiped everything down, like put my stuff out again, and then started my workout. During my workout, they hopped on the 2 elliptical machines right next to me several times, hopped on the treadmill multiple times, played with the rower, played with the weights, threw the exercise balls around, like through my entire workout, my whole hour-long workout. And when I say that they were doing all these things, they were like playing with them like they were toys. Like one of them was messing with the speed on the treadmill, and the other was like putting her foot up against the treads, like noticing the sound that it was making as it was going round and round. And then when they were on the elliptical, they were like pulling on it to the point where I thought it was gonna fall over. Like they were literally playing with the equipment, and it made me, working with children myself, it made, this knowing the safety the safety requirements of all these machines and like the ages for them, it made me so anxious the entire time. If it wasn't for the fact that I was doing an hour-long run, I would have stopped and been like, hey, you can't do that, or hey, you shouldn't do that. But like, because they could have been kids that lived next to me, I didn't want to like upset them. They go complain to their parents, and then I have to deal with these upset neighbors for who knows how long, Also, there was to be honest, in the beginning, there was a guy in there with us who I swore was like with them. So I at first didn't think it was going to be an issue. But no, they were straight up unattended the entire time. They hopped in and out of the gym multiple times. They kind of propped the door open so they didn't have to like lock it or whatever. But I'm glad that I didn't upset them or say anything bad. I just tried to be like, I did say like, well, be careful, or it's not a toy, like very as kind as I possibly could, like while I'm running, who knows how far. But I did find out that they do live right next to me, because when I went to drive to the expo this morning, I saw them getting in the car, getting ready to go to school. And I was like, okay, this is awkward. But like, it's just one of those things where, was I annoyed that the kids took my treadmill? Absolutely. It very much frustrated me because it prevented me from using the treadmill for actual training when they were just playing on it. Did it upset me that they could have potentially broken equipment that I use and do cherish to a certain point? Yes, it did upset me. Would it have made me mad that I would have had to stop my workout if they did actually injure themselves because I could not just like keep running while they're like, ow, I'm in pain? Yes, that upset me too. I should not be held responsible. Those people, I mean, the mom, you could argue, could have been held responsible because she was the one that opened the door for them, but we should not be held responsible for that. That's their parents' job. And I don't know what the situation is. I never assume anyone's parent situation or whatever. The mom could have thought they were playing in the playground for all I know. But like, when it comes to stuff like that, like using the gym, please educate your children that the gym is not a playground. It's not a toy. Those are serious things for serious, not just athletes, but like people trying to lose weight or go through physical therapy or whatever that need those machines. Unless the kid or the child or whatever, even teenager, is trained on how to use the equipment the proper way, then they should not be touching it, period. And I know I'm probably preaching to the choir, but I actually plan, as soon as I finish doing all of my editing work, I do plan on sending a strongly worded email to my office that's been a long time coming. They used to have signs in there that had the age limit, and in the past they've taken them down because they had like 6 feet and mask signs up, but they haven't put those back. And I think they really need to, because there's been multiple times where I've just seen kids running around in the gym when I'm walking by coming home from work. So that's not okay. Anyway, positive notes. The race is just in a couple of days. I do plan on doing some more race training, not today, because I literally filled every single one of my rings before I even got home. So I'm just gonna sit and edit and relax for the rest of the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. Check out my Crowned Athletics videos on my main channel. I got the Star Wars one for Rey, and I'm absolutely in love with this and the company, and I cannot wait till they restock stuff. But like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.